Discrimination is Systemic by Wyatt C IMP'24. Today, we will be exploring the history, implications, and ways to combat systemic discrimination. Today, let's begin by defining discrimination. According to Oxford Dictionary, discrimination is the unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people, especially on the grounds of ethnicity, age, sex, or disability. So, what truly is the problem? Well, systems and laws put in place years ago are discriminatory towards people of many backgrounds of race, gender, or even profession, and we must push for changes within our own government to combat these systemic biases. Now, we'll take a look at how systemic discrimination took a root within our country. According to Danielle Solomon, the director of AI and racial equity at Microsoft, in 1830, President Andrew Jackson signed into law the Indian Removal Act. This forcefully removed many Indians from their home and gave that land to the United States government. Additionally, in 1887, Grover Cleveland signed into law the General Allotment Act, or commonly known as the Dawes Act. This again took more land away from the Indians and split it up among them. Lastly, between 1945 and 1968, and in many other times, even more land kept being taken from them, and over 100 tribal nations were abolished. According to Martin Luther King Jr., in his letter from Birmingham jail, when he was imprisoned in Birmingham jail, and wrote this letter to the parish members of Birmingham. An unjust law is a code that a majority afflicts on a minority that is not binding on itself. This is a difference made legal. On the other hand, a just law is a code that a majority compels a minority to follow and that is willing itself. This is sameness made legal. He calls us to make changes within our government to have just laws and sameness made legal. Now, this brings us to the implications of systemic discrimination. Being discriminated against can have many negative impacts on a person. Let's take a look at the personal impacts. They can include mental, physical, socioeconomic, and many other kinds, such as social. Additionally, systemic discrimination can have many negative impacts on society as a whole. Marcus Thompson from The Athletic writes, quote, Simone Biles, knew she was going to see backlash and hear it, and answered for it. She knew this would scuff the pristine narrative that followed her to Tokyo. It is clear that because Simone Biles stepped down from the Olympics, many were disappointed in her and felt that she didn't have the right to do this. But this shows how discrimination can have an effect on a person. Now we'll look at how discrimination can affect society as a whole. Angela Hanks, the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary and Acting Secretary of Employment and Training, discusses how minority groups, and specifically African Americans, can have less access to jobs, stable jobs, high income, and good finances. Hence, there is, in our society, less opportunity for minority group members to climb the social ladder and build socioeconomic standing. In 2020, George Floyd, an innocent man, was brutally killed by police officers. The system's put in place to protect the people killed in an innocent man for no reason. This sparked the Black Lives Matter movement. The artist Peter Williams painted this picture in memorial of George Floyd. It includes words such as Father, Mother, God. These words are very impactful because it can show how even if something tragic happens like this, because of discrimination, we still can have good things in our lives. The struggles of living under oppression and fear because of your color of skin is also shown in this image. Systems put in place not only have negative impacts, but can endanger people of minorities, just like George Floyd. So, what can we do to combat systemic discrimination? We need to stand up for what we believe to change the systems. Eloise Cobell is a great example of this. Eloise Cobell fought for 30 years in the justice system to earn rights for Native American people. According to Melissa Jenko with the American Indian, imagine the celebration that took place after winning a 30-year battle with the most powerful government in the world. She allowed through her 30-year battle for many natives to have a better socioeconomic standing and a better way of life. Also, the song Fight the Power by Public Enemy is a great example of how people have showed that they stand up towards the oppressing government. Here I will play a clip from it. While in his own way, Public Enemy is calling for us to stand up against the oppression of the government towards people of minorities. So in conclusion, our world is riddled by discrimination from our government systems, which drastically harms people every day. And the best way to change this for the better is to stand up and personally make a change. Here's my video.
Thank you, Wyatt. Wyatt, how did you select the strategies you used to gather information or conduct your research, and were they effective?
I used strategies to conduct my research by using online databases such as JSTOR and Consensus to help me find my sources, and I also looked up pieces of media such as the picture of George Floyd and that song, and these strategies were effective because it allowed me to find a multitude of sources that were from a wide range of different backgrounds.
And Wyatt, if you had more time, what additional research would you conduct related to this issue?
If I had more time to conduct research, I would probably look into the more specific effects that that discrimination can have on people, like the mental effects and how that can harm a person, or how in a society systemic discrimination can specifically harm a person.
Okay, thank you.